Lord. All right, let's jump in and do a recap. Let's see what happened. All right, so let's see. Last session, you guys awoke at the winery. You guys were at the Wizard of Wine's winery after just taking out the druids and the werebear and everything else that was going on there, the blights. He ended up staying the evening there. Everybody got some rest and woke up in the morning. Mornak found that he was a little more perceptive. Well, not so much him, but he was covered in extra eyeballs. And Victor was bleeding out everywhere. It's not like a ton of blood, but it is rather bloody. And Dre has an insatiable hunger for any sort of refuse, oddly enough. But you guys woke up in the morning, headed down to the main bar area, the tasting room, had a bit of breakfast. Stefani was down there to visit with you a little bit and thank you for all the help that you offered. She was a little less forthcoming when you guys started talking to her about what exactly was going on here at the winery. She mentioned that she wasn't really at a liberty to give too much information. It was more on her husband and, in turn, his side of the family, the Mardikovs, who owned this winery. And she mentioned that Erwin, back from the town of Valakai, he runs the Blue Water Inn, is part of the family. Davian, the patriarch, Adrian is her husband, and Dragoon would be another brother-in-law or another son of Davian. They're the ones who actually run this winery. So she didn't feel she was really in a position to give out too much information. You can see that she wanted to. After talking to her a little bit, she headed to go in to speak to Adrian and Davian, who were in the kitchen. And Mud, he followed first, followed by a couple others. Dre and Victor decided to hang back, eating whatever goodies they could find. They had the munchies, I'm assuming. And again, you met Adrian. It seemed like he wanted to talk a little bit as well and share some information, but the old man, Davian, would have absolutely none of it. He did seem thankful that you guys helped to a degree, but he wanted you basically to be gone from his winery. He was not in a good mood and suggested that you be gone by lunchtime. He ended up retiring to his den. And that is when Adrian and Stefani took you guys out front. They had to sit on the benches while they gathered up your horses, your wagon. They gave you 3 casks of wine, 2 large 55-gallon drums. What was it? 2 of the Great Mash and 1 of the Red Dragon Crush they gave you, as well as a small crate of bottles as well to take back to Valakai, namely for Erwin, who would be able to portion it out in his wine or in his tavern. Let's see. After you guys started talking a little bit, they mentioned that the winery itself was dying and it would no longer produce any more wine. He did not state why exactly. Vasily, you seemed to ask a couple of times, but he played around and didn't really answer you. He did give you a letter written in crypto calligraphy to give to Erwin. You weren't able to make too much out of it. But he mentioned that once you were in the privacy of Erwin's tavern, Erwin, with that letter, would be willing to give you a bit more information. Mud, you showed them your Taraka cards, namely the Raven, the Swashbuckler, and the Druids. He was quite interested. Well, it all played its own parts, as you've kind of figured, but when you gave him the Raven card, Stefani took it and went around the side of the building. She came back as a raven and basically didn't really tell you guys, but you get the assumption that she is a were-raven, and it seems to be something that runs on this side of the family. And she promised that her and her kin would watch over all of you. The remaining Mardukov Dragoon, he was en route to a town called Kresk, but he had not returned. Vasily, you read the cards, cast a quick spell. You kind of got the feeling that he was no longer alive either. Gathered up your wine barrels, headed out of the winery to head back to Valakai. Let's see. On the road there, you chatted a little bit amongst each other. You came across 2 children who were in the side of the road in the ditch, and you tried to speak with them and tried to help them. You couldn't tell exactly what was wrong, but the younger girl let out this scream, and it kind of scared you all to your bones. But they too, the children, turned into just a pile of bones and dust on the side of the road. Not really wanting to mess with that any further than what you already did, you just hopped in the wagon and hauled ass back to Velikai. Got stopped by the front guards who were walking or coming through the Wachter Gate, which is the western gate. Chatted a little bit. Mentioned that they were getting ready for their Festival of the Burning Sun, which was this coming weekend. And basically told you guys to go ahead, head on in, and take some rest at the tavern or whatever it is you wanted to do. You were headed down the main road to the Blue Water Inn. You could see the church up on the hill. People seem to be out front cleaning up the grounds, trimming trees and bushes and stuff like that. You've seen Irina up there as well as Ismark, who had yet to leave this place. Headed down the main street, and that is when you were stopped by Izek, this large town guardman. Seems to lead the guard here. This one huge mutated arm that he has and carries this large axe with him. He suggested that you deliver the wines to the Burgomaster Vargas Volakovich's mansion, which he motioned over. You guys didn't really seem to want to do that and decided to maybe go to the Blue Water Inn with it as you were originally intending. Sort of not really a fight, but a standoff occurred. Everybody getting off the wagon facing Izek facing you guys. Vasily, you jumped into the driver's seat, snapped the reins to take off, and Izek hurled his axe forward. It turned into this black, ghostly fog-like axe, severing both of the horses in one slash, causing the whole front of this wagon to dig down into the dirt and throwing Vasily to the road. And that is where we ended it, with this sort of tense face-off between all of you and Izek. Anything you would all like to add that I may have missed?
Well, I believe where we actually ended it would have been Victor going to tackle Izek.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Is that like a thing, or are we like retconning back a little bit?
Oh, no, you rolled, I believe, and didn't roll very well, didn't you? To be honest, I did not check the very
No, I
end.
didn't roll anything.
Okay.
We just said it. We were about to roll initiative.
I was going to tackle him.
All right. So yeah, that is where we will pick it up. Sweet. So all of you will stand there. You will notice it is not really late. It's still daylight per se in this town. It's going to be sort of early evening, 5, 6-ish sort of time as you pull into the city and have this standoff. Start picking yourself up off the ground, Vasily, and you guys will notice Izek as he starts to make his way across the road, pretty much just kind of pushing past you guys, not really doing, giving two craps what you might try to do, and making his way towards these barrels. And that would be the moment that Victor would take off. So go ahead and describe what it is you plan to do, Victor.
Well, if I remember right, the whole reason why I was going to tackle him is because he was going to attack the wine barrels. Because he said something along the lines, well, if you weren't going to, or if these were so important, like, then I'm just going to get rid of them, or something along those lines. And that's why I was going to tackle him. Or if my memory is wrong, then
you're right.
Anyone feel free to correct me. But considering how Victor doesn't have the use of his left arm, like, he's just going to try to mostly just grab him using his right arm and just kind of swing him backwards if he can, tackle him at all. And well, what's the ground like? Is it muddy at all, or is it paved road, or is it just?
It's paved road. It's muddy, but it's not really too slippery. They do have good roads here, and it's a paved street and stuff. But it is raining and drizzly, so.
Okay. Then in that case, he will try to use that to his advantage and push this guy backwards away from the wine barrels because he knows his buddy Mornak is super attached to these wine barrels. So
as he pushes you guys out of the way, and you can see he takes these long strides across the street towards these barrels, and he mentions that if you're not going to deliver these barrels to Vargas where they belong, that he'll just have to destroy them himself. And you kind of get the sense he was going to, or intending to, pass the blame on to all of you. The barrels are they're okay in the back of this cart that's been dug down into the earth and not shook up too bad. Why don't you give me a strength challenge roll, Victor? I'll give one for Isaac as well.
And I will. Am I muted
Okay.
now? I will reach out as he goes to tackle him and bless him for a boon.
alrighty, sweet. Ooh. Oh, I don't know if you guys can actually see that. Oh, it works.
14.
So that would be a 14, 15, 16 for me.
Nice. So, yeah, as you run across the street, Victor, you sort of grab him on this one large, burly sort of side. When you do, his skin is very, very hot. You can feel it automatically start sizzling your skin a little bit. As you spin him around, hitting him is sort of like hitting a wall. He doesn't really budge too much, but you do throw him back a couple of feet. And he catches himself and turns to look at you, and you can see this huge axe in this one hand that he starts to lift up. He says, "That was a foolish move, Victor." He'll take a few steps forward. Mornak, Vasily, and Mud, as you watch all of this, you can feel all these eyes upon you. They're not Mornaks, oddly enough, but they are all these other townspeople started to gather around a little bit and form this semicircle around what's going on. You see other guardsmen there as well. Most of them are just typical townspeople, peasants, children. And it's almost like back in your old tribes or maybe your school days. These two men facing each other in a circle around them of people watching, just anticipating a fight. And you'll hear this creak of a door. Celia, you notice at first, and you look over your shoulder, you see this very large, portly man, barely 5 feet in height, but just as wide as he is tall, step through the doorway. Says, "What is the meaning of this?" "Ah, I see you've met Isaac." Which is, he's like, Isaac, don't worry yourself about this. Don't worry yourself. No need to be a gentleman. He says, "I will have my people take care of these wines. Why don't you help our friend out? Help our friend." And Isaac, he'll stare at you for a few moments, Victor, his eyes meeting yours. And cast his eyes across, past you to this large, portly man standing on the porch. His head swivels over to you, Vasily, where you're on the ground, and you see Isaac, as he takes a few steps toward you, Vasily, reaches down with this huge hand, just sort of grabs you by the back of your shirt and lifts you back to your feet, pats you on the back a few times heavily, and shoves you forward. He says, "Burgomaster, yes, I was simply helping our new friends. This little goat thing doesn't know how to drive very well. It seems he
kind of
had
hard
an
to drive.
accident."
It's kind of hard to drive with flying axes cutting our horses in half.
"You don't know what you speak of, little goat man."
No, I know quite well what I'm speaking of. And I just stand looking up in the air at him with my neck almost like 45 degrees looking up at him.
He'll stare down at you and see this burning hatred in his eyes, but he seems like he's sort of held himself back for the moment.
I figured as much as what I was saying with his possibly boss right there. But I think if just had a few new horses to replace it, all could be forgiven. You wouldn't mind buying us some new horses, would you, dear Isaac?
"I will do no such thing." And he'll turn, "Burgomaster, these ruffians seem to have brought us wine. I suggested they bring it to you. And this fat little man looks around and says, don't worry about it, Isaac. Always a gentleman, always a gentleman. Don't worry, don't worry. Why don't you take the wine, deliver it to our friend Erwin down the streets, and why? And he'll step down these steps and come forward, puts his arm around you, Mud, and sort of leads you over where Victor is as well. And puts his arm around you, Victor. Says, my friends, we haven't had a chance to meet. Haven't had a chance at all. I've heard all about you. I've made good friends with your friend Ismark and his lovely sister. And forgive me. And he'll hold out this plump little hand. Burgomaster Vargas Vlakovic. You can call me Vargas. I see you've met my... would you like to speak, Fawn? What is your name?
My name is Vasily, and I bow very courtly to him.
Vasily, that is such a gentleman's name.
But of course.
Victor will actually try to reach out and shake his hand, but he'll use his left hand, which has been cut off, and he doesn't quite, it hasn't sunk in to him yet, and so he turns to shake his hand, but then forgets that his arm is gone. So he'll exchange hands to shake his hand.
He looks down at this stump you have. You should have that taken care of. And, shake your stump or your hand if you offer your hand, and look over the Mud. And, what about you? I've only read of orcs. I've never seen one myself. A fine specimen. I bet you're good with a blade, huh?
So I'll kind of lean over him a little bit. Yes, we're a rare specimen. One of the biggest things is for us to complete a task that we've been given. If you'll forgive me, Burgomaster, I must deliver this wine. Isaac, might you help me finish my task?
Vargas will look at you. Nonsense, he says. Isaac is much too busy to help with these tasks at hand, and don't you worry yourself. What is your name again?
My friends call me Mud.
Well then, Mud. For we are friends, of course. Of course we are friends. Yes. Says, well then, Mud, don't worry yourself either. My men, they can take care of this wine. It gets delivered to Erwin. So I will make sure they take it.
Well, you must understand, dear Burgomeister, that I, as someone of the merchantly persuasion and someone who is in a position such as you, we both understand the value of contracts and agreements. And when you say your word that you're going to do something, it is very important that you do it. We have given our word that we personally will deliver these barrels to this inn. So you must understand with such severity such a promise.
So, and as Vasily's so eloquent about that, after he claps his hand, anybody who steps forward, Mud will growl at.
You see a few of the guards, sort of step out of the crowd. Isaac looks at them, and he'll come and step up alongside both Vasily, you, and Mud, and everybody else, sort of pushing himself into this little conversation. And Vargas looks at you, Vasily, and Mud, and says, nonsense, he says. A fine gentleman like you don't need to worry about pulling about the wine barrels. Why, that barrel weighs more than you, Fawn. He says, don't worry.
Don't worry, I'm very acquainted with manual labor. But as I said, if your good friend Isaac could reimburse us for the expenses that he's cost us for killing our horses, we would be more than happy to be on our way.
And Vargas looks, killing your horses, and looks over and up at Isaac. Isaac, is this true?
And I'm just gesturing in this way, like Vanna White, towards our horses cut in half.
At that point, Mornak's going to go over and find the crate and pull out a barrel, or not a barrel, but a bottle, uncork it, and take a big, long swig.
Isaac looks over his shoulder. I did not know what happened to the horses. It's his trickery. He looks at you, Vasily. Like the tricks of a trickster. A mage.
But you,
Those
dear
horses.
Isaac, you are the most impressively strong person here in this whole village. No one can best you in strength or prowess of arms. You with that magical battle axe that you hurl so readily through the air. No one could cleave horses in half as easily as you do.
I don't.
Vargas. To clear up this dispute, I can share my memory of the horses being slaughtered with you. I can enter your mind and show you what happened.
There's a Jesus. Nobody will enter my mind. What is your name, elf?
I am Mornak the Bold and the Drunk.
Well, I don't know about the bold, but I do like a fine drink myself. He'll hold out his hand for you, Mornak. He says,
Mornak will grasp it, but he'll do it by the forearm.
He looks and says, clearly you are all a bit mistaken. Isaac is quite the gentleman and the scholar. Says he has an affinity for horses. He loves them like his own. He would do no such thing. Says, but why don't you come inside? We'll have a few words. I can offer fine drink. My men here, they will deliver the wine. And Isaac, why don't you make somebody clean up this mess? He's right next to you, both you, Vasily, and Mud, so he put his arms around you and start motioning towards his house. Says, come, I wish to have a few words, and you wouldn't want to disrespect the mayor, I assume, right? It is
Mayor,
quite
I thought you were the burgomaster.
Mayor, burgomaster, same thing. Says, but it is a tradition for the burgomaster to welcome guests, and well, I was not on the top of my game when you arrived. He says, let me make it up now. It is most important.
Bud will look towards to Vasily and Mordak on what to do here, since they're the ones he's known the longest.
Well, if it's a dinner feast we're to have, and I prance over to the wagon and I pull out one of the bottles, we might as well have some wine with it. And I hold it up, presenting the lady.
With that, Mornak takes another big gulp and he just holds up one finger while he's doing it like Archer.
Says, yes, wine, a bit of roast mutton. My fine wife, Lydia, has dinner cooking as we speak. It smells delicious. Says, come, my people will take care of this. You need not bother yourselves. This is not a task for heroes such as yourself, who have come back with wine. You know, we have not had a shipment in some time.
Yes, we are the great vindicators of libations. That is the title that we have preferred.
Beautiful, beautiful, great liberators. Come have a bit of dinner, a bit to eat, some wine, if your friend don't drink it all, of course. And Isaac and my men will clean this up. He'll look over his shoulder. Isn't that right, Isaac? This huge man will stare back across at Vargas, stares at all of you for a few moments. Yes, my men will take care of this. I will go speak with Rowan. And he'll turn and start to move down the street towards the winery. You can see several of the other guards hurry forward, pulling these barrels off the back of the cart and getting ready to roll them down the street to the winery as well.
Well, as we know, Isaac is such an honorable person. We know that he will go to such great lengths to make sure that they are all delivered there himself.
Yes, Isaac, he's
Go
ahead.
Before they take off, Victor's going to run over and he's going to find something to write with, and he's going to write on each of the barrels, Victor sends this, or like, actually I'm going to say, no, because Vasily wasn't with us. So I'm going to put Mornak. sends the wine barrels on each barrel, so that way no one else can lay claim that they did it. So that way we can somewhat get credit for it.
Gotcha.
Or at least Mornak anyways. And then if the group is going to proceed inside, I guess I'll follow them. Not happily. Like, Victor is not happy with this situation.
I agree with you, but your begrudgingness, Victor, but I don't see any other choice we have at the moment. Surrounded by city guards. And I personally am not the most hailed at the moment.
Vargas will begin leading you up these steps towards his house. Says, you have to forgive Isaac. He's really just a big teddy bear. Sometimes he comes off a bit rough around the edges, but he is a good man, a gentleman, very intelligent for somebody of his stature as well. But once you get to know him, he's a good friend. He will be there to the end with you. But he's a little stubborn sometimes, but he's a good man, a gentleman. He has it quite in with all the ladies,
I believe that he will be there till the end with us. I'm nodding in a thoughtful manner.
Everybody give me a perception roll, please. I just need the highest one.
Ooh, 19.
Ooh.
18.
8.
All those eyes in your Lily's perceptive.
Oh yeah, and all my eyes are watching
Mine-
Isaac when he's walking away.
In that case,
I
Mud
guess all the blood.
Mud and Victor, both of you, as he's leading you up these stairs towards his front doors, will notice this. It looks almost like a bolt of lightning inside the house, but it's up in the third-story window. It looks like probably the attic area. It's just this bright purple flash, just at the edges of your senses. So, as you look up at it and stuff, it's just now just a darkened room again. But you're pretty sure you saw this flash of color up there. And he will open up these large oaken double doors. In this mansion, the town itself is in pretty decent condition for the most part. It's old looking and a little run down here and there, but for the most part, it's way better than what Barovia was. And this mansion itself is quite fancy. It seems to be upkept fairly well. And he'll open these large doors into this long foyer that you look into. The whole room is just filled with bundles upon bundles and bundles of sticks that have all been wound up together. And you can hear the sound of women's voices coming from a side room. The door is only cracked open just a little bit, but it sounds like maybe 7 or 8 women in there talking and giggling and just doing something. And he'll lead you into this foyer and says, be careful of the sticks. My wife and her friends, they are building perhaps for the festival this weekend. You've heard of the festival, right?
What is this festival you speak of?
It is good you ask, Mornak. Let me tell you. Picture this. Picture this. It is going to be a festival of the ages. One like we've never had before. We are going to build large suns out of these sticks, prop them up all around the walls of Valakai. And we will set them ablaze in the morning when the sun rises. You may not have noticed, but the sun does not shine here very much. It says, but us, we are going to make our own sun. Yes. And it's going to be a grand festival. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. That is what they do.
The devil will let you do that?
Don't worry about the devil. That's the thing about it, Mornak, you see. But let me get a bit of drink and a bit of food, and perhaps we can catch up, and I will tell you all about this festival. You don't need to worry about the devil. No, not here in Valakai. He can't touch a soul.
I always worry about the devil.
That's because you're new to Valakai, and you have not participated in our festivals. He will open up this side door. You can hear the voices of the women in the other room, quiet down a little bit. And this very tall, she's well over 6 feet, probably as tall as you are, Mud, but just skin and bones, lanky woman, peeks her head out. She's very sallow, sunken eyes. You can see the big bags of darkness under each eye, and her skin is sort of this grayish pale color. She doesn't look to be the healthiest of women. And she'll peek out looking at all of you, and then at Vargas and be like, "Oh, sorry, my dear, I did not hear you come in. The ladies and I, we are preparing the sons for the blaze. Sorry, the dinner will be brought up shortly. You have your talk with your friends. We will continue working." And she'll quickly get back into the door and shuts the door. And Vargas looks over and, "That is my wife, Lydia. A beautiful woman. I see the way you're looking at her, Victor. Don't you think of anything, huh?"
So considering what we all just went through at the winery, while this is going on, I'm kind of kicking each pile of sticks. Make sure none of them are going to jump up at us. A little paranoid at this point.
Yeah, they all seem to be just basic bundles of sticks from what you can tell.
So what exactly is the role that your sons have in this celebration? You said she mentioned something about, I thought, didn't she say something about her son preparing her sons for this?
Yes, she was preparing the bundles of sticks into sons.
Like, oh, okay. I thought you meant sons like children.
Nope.
Oh.
And, yeah, he'll open up this doorway. You can see it opens up into a wide den. There's this large oaken polished table in the center. A desk in the back side of the room, and there's all sorts of animal taxidermies on the wall, deer and things like that on the walls. The back corner, you all will see this massive taxidermy dire bear, just as large, perhaps maybe even a little bit larger than the one you battled at the winery. And he'll motion you in, and he steps out of the room for a moment, talking to this young girl who hurries off to go get some food and drink. And he was looking, and "I'll be right back, friends. I'm going to help the young lady bring in a few bits. Please make yourself at home, take a seat, and feel free to look at the trophies. I'll tell you stories of them when I get back. Just a moment." And he'll step out of the room, letting the door close behind him. And you can hear him talking fairly lively with this young girl who laughs as they go down the hall, leaving the four of you in there for a few moments.
Remind me when this is all through to put Isaac's head on a trophy like this.
I think this whole town is going to be in flames at some point. You might have to fish it out of the ashes.
Mornack's going to just go over and start examining the taxidermied werebear as if it's some sort of fine piece of art.
Whoever taxidermied this did quite a nice job. It sort of rears back. You can see these huge fangs. It even has some of this sort of hardened slime in its maw. Looks like it's drooling a little bit. It's very well done.
As soon as he goes out of the room, I'm going to cast Sense Magic.
Let's see if you feel anything. Let's see then. You'll see the only thing in there that seems to have any sense of magic is a small cigar box that is sitting on his desk on the back side. You don't get a sense of anything else in this room, magic at all. Just the cigar box.
Cigar box is emanating some sort of magic. I wonder what trinket that might be.
It looks to be mostly of illusion.
I'm going to walk over there and examine it.
Slides over. It's quite fanciful made. Has a small little button on the front of it. And as you press that, the top of it lips open. You can see there's 3 cigars, and they're quite fat, round ones, and long. Each one of them not so much the box itself is magic, but each cigar itself has this illusionary magic to it. And it reads the worm's tobacco across the top of it.
I take one out.
It smells delicious. You can smell bits of blackberry, the tobacco itself, sort of citrusy hop, lingering scent.
I wonder how much farther down the path of corruption smoking one of these will lead one.
Corruption? That's kind of my thing.
Yeah. A few moments pass, maybe 10 minutes or so, and you'll hear this soft little knock on the door, and the handle turns as Vargas pulls himself through the doorway, kind of sidestepping a little bit to fit his large bulk through. He holds this large plate of steaming meat that's just loaded with vegetables, potatoes, carrots, celery, all around the outside of it. And behind him, this young girl carries a platter of cheeses as well as another little pot of tea, steaming tea. He sets these all down on the table and pulls up a few plates from behind his desk and lays them out. Please, help yourself, friends. We are all company here. And he'll begin piling some meat and potatoes onto his plate, pours himself a cup of tea, and says, I see you like the cigars, Vasily.
Ah, yes. Beautiful scent.
But why don't you have one? A gift from me to you.
Of course, of course.
He says, I don't get them very often. A tobacco monk from the town of Kresk, he came through and brought these to me. Some of the finest in the lands. He says, but be careful when you smoke it. You might want to, well, not have any plans for the evening.
Oh?
And he'll sort of look at it and says, it has, what you may say, a bit of a hallucinatory effect. A good time for one who's looking to relax for the evening. And he'll slide that box back over onto his desk and take a seat. And says, well, why don't we get caught up here, friends? Says, I did not get a chance to meet with you when you came into town. You came in a bit late, and well, when I heard of your coming, you had already left for the winery. At least that is what Erwin told me. He says, you must forgive me. I did not have a chance to converse and meet with you, introduce myself properly. He says, I am, as I said, Burgomaster Vargas Vlakovic, and this town has been in my family's for generations. My father, my father's father, my father's father's father, a long time ago. He says, and now it is mine. Someday, when I'm old and decrepit, I pass on from this world, my middle finger in the air to the devil, because me and him, we don't get along, you see, much like yourselves. He says, and my son, yes, my young son, he will take over, and so it goes. He says, Monak, you like that bear, huh? He says, let me tell you a story about that bear. You know, he shoves this big pile of meat into his mouth, potatoes as he speaks, so kind of slobs across his beard a little bit, and these greasy hands that he holds up. Says, I went out on a hunt, me, my brother, one time, and Isaac, and we were running through the forest, and I saw it, this bear in the distance. It stood over the corpse of a wolf, chowing down on the creature's pelvis. And I nudged Isaac right in the ribs. I gave him a bit of a nudge, and I said, Isaac, I'm going to wrestle that bear. And that is what I did, my friends. I charged across that clearing, and I tackled that bear. I wrestled the life out of it with my own bare hands. And I choked this bear into submission. It was a sight to see. I got a few scratches, of course. I mean, you can't fight such a beast and not get a few injuries. Right. You know what I'm saying, Mud. You know what I say.
I think Mud just snorts. Derisive
And he stops and looks at you. What is so funny, Mud? Do you not believe what I'm saying? I see what you do. You just jest. You're funny, Mud. I like you. You're funny. He says, yes, I wrestled the bear and, well, just a quick, and I snapped its neck and, well, here we are. It's a beautiful trophy, a beautiful trophy. He says, now, Mud, a creature such as yourself, you must have wrestled your own beasts. Why don't you tell me about them? Me and you, we are like warrior brothers.
Go on, tell him, Mud.
I'll give a look to Warnak, Vasily, and Victor. Ah, yes. I don't have the time to tell all, but, you know, there's times I wrestled the Yeti and a mid-range dragon, a great worm from the tundra. All with these bare hands, and I hold up the hand that only has 3 fingers on it. And I just kind of look over the scars and give it another, and that's it. Yep.
You will have to tell me one of these times, Mud, of this worm. You know, I've never seen a dragon. Heard of them in legends, of course, and never have I heard of this Yeti creature.
And believe me, when he says wrestling the Yeti, it's not a euphemism. He literally means wrestling the Yeti.
Yes, you're funny as well, Vasily. I tell you what, Vasily and Mud, I would like the 2 of you to present yourselves at the festival. What say you? What say you? The people will love your humorous gifts.
Do we get costumes?
You can dress how you like. I will even pay.
What's wrong with me and Mornak? Do you not think we're presentable? And with that, like, blood is still just running down Victor's face, and I'm assuming that Mornak's eyes are going everywhere.
All 6 of my eyes just roll themselves.
I say, oh, no, of course not, Victor. But, well, you didn't look like the funny type, you know, like the fawn and Mud. You seemed a bit more serious. I figured perhaps you would like a job with the town guard or something, but if you wish to perhaps put on a dance and maybe Mornak can read minds or something, whatever it is he does.
I am
Certainly.
a poet of the greatest measure. I shall read my poetry.
Wonderful. Yes. Well.
And we shall all sing.
This is excellent. So you will perform at the festival, yes? I can count on you to pull your part. You know, the people here in town with you bringing back the wine, and you've gave us all a bit of hope in these dark times. The people, they will go nuts in joy of seeing you present yourselves. And Victor, you seem like a man of good words. Perhaps you can put on a rising speech to help lift the spirits of these people. What say you? You put on a speech, and Mornak, you can do some fanciful stuff, and Mud and Vasily, you two can sing the tales, and yes, it'll be a fancy. I will pencil you in. I will pencil you in. It is going to be a grand festival.
Is there anything in particular that we're supposed to do in this presentation?
Well, I will leave that up to you, of course. I mean, I'll have a few guidelines, and I will have Lydia give you the pamphlets in the schedule of the festival.
Pamphlets.
I think Bud will kind of put his hand up, because I don't think Vasily shared everything with us before now. But Mud will put his hand up. My friends, believe we have business on the road to Kresk. Also looking for Mother. I don't celebration is in our future.
He says, nonsense, but you will most certainly stay for the festival. I mean, to leave town like this, and why, just imagine the crushing hopes of these people who are looking forward to meeting with you and Vasily and Mornek, Victor, the Liberators, you said. The Liberators, yes, the people want to meet these Liberators. Says, you don't need to worry about Kresk. It's much long travel, and why, Valakai is much safer, much safer.
When is this celebration to commence?
You guys are a second. In 3 days' time, well, it'll be 2 days and tomorrow morning. So you guys can. I tell you what, I will even make it worth your while. Besides a bit of pay, and besides becoming famous here in the town of Valakai with your wine liberations and your fine poetry and these words and dance and song, whatever it is you do. It says, I can even offer, you can stay in my guest house free of charge. No need to stay down there at the Blue Water Inn in the those cramped rooms. And why, the Vistani have overrun the place already today anyway. You don't want to have to sleep with them stinking up the place.
Ah, but the people watching is so wonderful there.
Yes, you see some rather interesting folk.
With him kind of mentioning the Vasily, or not Vasily,
Vistani.
oh, I forgot the people's names already.
The Vistani.
Yeah, Vistani. With him mentioning the Vistani, Victor is just going to kind of give him almost a stink eye a little bit. Then he's going to just reach over and grab the bottle that Mornek is drinking and just like grab it and start downing it. And that's that is the first time you guys have ever seen Victor drink. So, like, whatever's left in that bottle, he just downs it.
Victor, my friend, finally we can party together.
Celebration has begun early.
This is excellent, and he'll pour a bit of wine for himself as well. And yes, he says, you don't worry. You can stay here for the evening tomorrow as well. And he says, the festivities, they always begin a bit early. The games and the songs. And why, you don't want to miss the burning of the suns this weekend. It's going to be a fine festival. Yes. Everything will be fine.
Don't you think your youth would be better spent not burning?
He says, no, not my son. The brat that he is, he will have to grow up at some point, I think. No. He says, all these bundles of sticks, you see, my wife, Lydia, beautiful woman, she is a beautiful woman indeed. She is crafting large arrays of sticks shaped like suns. We are going to mount them across the fences, across the portcullises and the gatehouses of Valakai. And when the morning sun arises, we will set them ablaze. The whole town will see the rising of the blazing sun. Yes, that is what we'll do.
We'll be buying our outfits for this venture.
Says, I got it covered, Monak. I have it covered. I will get you the finest clothes.
Okay, well, just so you know, Vasily's costume requires 2 horses.
I can make that happen. What is it you like with these horses, Vasily? I mean, perhaps I shouldn't question, but...
Special harnesses, one for each foot on top of each horse.
Oh.
I'll train them to dance personally.
Will you have time for such things?
No, of course not.
Well, who am I to doubt a half goat, half man person like yourself?
That's what I always say.
Excellent. Then it's settled. You will stay here, enjoy yourselves. Why? If you need anything, simply let Isaac know. He will take care of you. Very fine, very fine. He's a gentleman, you know.
You really must forgive me. I seem to have blacked out for a moment.
Don't worry about that mud. Sometimes the wine, it just goes straight to the brain.
Victor's going to kind of look to Vasily and say, I don't remember actually agreeing to any of this. Are we actually staying, or what's the deal here? I mean, he's actually talking to Vasily this time, not doing the imaginary friend.
Ah. Well, we're going to have to go to the inn to conclude our business and do more people watching.
Well, from what I understand, you brought 2 others with you too. I've met Ismark, a fine young lad. Tis a shame about his father. It's very much a shame, but you can trust that he will be okay in our graveyard. Yes, Father Lucian is a good man, and he always performs the proper rites. And Milavage, well, he has a bit of a fascination with the dead, but he's a good lad as well. He says, yes, Ismark, he is quite interested in my styles of what you might call rulership here. And well, I gave him a few tips and tricks that he can take back to Barovia with you. But this young lady you brought, what is her name? Irina. Says, I have yet to get a chance to speak with her. Perhaps I will have to go up to the church and meet her myself, but I trust that she's a good lad, yes?
They're not necessarily connected with us. They are free will to do as they wish, come and go as they wish. We were merely fulfilling an obligation to bring them here.
Well, if you brought them here, then I assume there won't be any issues with them. I mean, of course, if you brought them here, then they are still under your word, right? Yes?
Well, our obligation towards them ended once we passed the gate.
Mm.
That was as far as we promised to bring them. That's what we did.
Interesting. And Ismark, he said that his town has been under attack recently from the devil. He says you don't have to worry about that here. Valakai is a safe haven. The devil can't get you here.
How reassuring.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Well, if we have no further business, I must thank you for having a bit of eat, having a bit of drink, and spending a story or two with me. The guest houses around the back, please make yourselves comfortable.
Of course, of course, of course.
Yeah. Reach into his pocket and hand over a small set of keys to you, Vasily.
Oh,
Says,
wonderful.
if you need anything, simply call my wife, Lydia, beautiful woman. She will help you. My young maids, Isaac, if you need anything. Isaac, he's quite a gentleman, of course, and a little rough around the edges sometimes, but he'll be happy to help you if he needs to.
You mentioned your son. Where is he?
Says, well, probably up in his damn room. Says, I don't really know. You know, kids these days, always up to their things, and they're locked up in their rooms, reading the books and writing poetry.
Is his own Yeti to wrestle, I see.
He says, it's quite interesting. And he looks over at you, Victor. Says, my son, he has a bit of a resemblance to you, Victor. Had I not, slept with my wife myself, I would have thought he was your son, but that would be crazy, of course. He says, but yes, he even shares the name with you, Victor.
Oh.
But yes.
Is his name spelled with a K as well, or is it a C?
It is with a K as well.
But he's going to kind of look to the rest of the party, and he's going to shake his head like, it's not mine, kind of a look.
Says,
Now, if you're occupied for many more years, then I'm sure that this young child's alive.
Young man, only 17, spends his days up in his room, listening to his music and drawing pictures and writing his morose poetry. Damn kids these days.
Ah,
Tell you, I
meet
tell
our
you.
dear Mornak.
The two, they might get along well. Yes, they might. He says, but he'll be at the festival. I would introduce you at the festival to the young lad. For once, I'll have to drag him out of his room and participate. You know how kids are these days. I sure wish Lydia would crack down on him a bit more. She seems closer to him than I am. She spends many of her hours with him as well, but that is for another time. Again, I must thank you all for visiting. I look forward to these stories of you wrestling worms and Yeti's mud. You would have to share them with the festival.
It's no dire bear, but
Of course, it's no dire bear. That beast was, yes. What days those were. What days those were. You should have seen it. I leapt atop the back of the beast, wrapped my arms around its neck. It tried to shake me free, like one of those, what do they call them? Those fighters that wrestle bears. Yes, one of those people. That's what it was like.
with my background as a hunter, could I tell how this bear really died?
Give me a perception and give yourself a boon.
Oh, that's a natural one and a 3 on the boon. So
Look over and, well,
it got its neck snapped.
it
Holy shit!
does indeed look like it had. You do see a bit of a crook in its neck. Says, to be young again, to be young again. Yeah, not so sure I could do it these days, but I'd give it the good galley ho, of course. He'll stand up and walk across this room, opening up the door, and he says, please help yourselves out, and if you need anything, you just let me know, friends. You just let me know.
Let's all leave. It's time to leave. We have sights to see in town. There's so many beautiful buildings to gaze at.
And see as you step out into the hallway, the first one to step out and look down, you can see this, just for a brief moment, Lydia, his wife, sticking her head out of this doorway again. She quickly shuts it, sort of locking eyes just a brief second with you, so almost like she didn't want to be spotted. And you can hear a bit of a thump as you look over your shoulder. You see this tall, lanky man, or kid actually. Looks a lot more like his mother than his father. But he just stares down at the end of the foyer, looks at you for a few moments, turns and mopes back into the side room, shutting the door behind him.
So to Vasily, I want to ask that: does that kid look like Victor? Like, does it show like a resemblance, like he's talking about?
So actually, yes, since you would have seen this, Vasily, you can definitely see the resemblance to his wife, Lydia. He's quite tall, lanky, sort of thin-faced. But if you were to look at Victor when he was much younger, and you kind of get the sense that, yeah, he definitely has a resemblance to Victor. A much younger, ganglier, but quite a resemblance.
A much younger, gangly version with 2 arms.
Kid can count to 10.
Hey, I can only count to 15. Leave me alone. Count my feet. So with that, Victor's going to turn to the party and kind of whisper a little bit and say, so are we going to the guest house, or are we going to stay at the Blue Water Inn? Or
let's go to the inn first.
I am so confused on what's going on.
We need to square up.
So I blacked out during the end of that conversation. I wasn't paying attention.
As soon as we get outside,
Apparently, Mud, you're going to be doing singing and dancing, and I forgot. I drank some of the Mornak wine.
As soon as we get outside, I try to hurry everyone along off to the sidewalk on the street. He says,
We need to get out of town. They're going to burn us alive. I just know it.
I kind of glanced back down the road towards those folks we seen in the square as we came in that were locked up. Kind of nod along.
Actually, as you look down the street, there's 3 people that seem to be in stocks. Their hands and neck through, their feet chained down to this. They're up about 5 feet off the ground on these platforms. You'll see Izek standing there, and he seems to be in a bit of an argument with 4 other people. And he will let out this grunt as he turns, as he walks by one of these stockaded people. He reaches up with this huge arm that he has, just put up his hand around the face of this woman, perhaps in her 30s, and you can just hear this sickening sort of crack as her body goes limp as he walks by. And without even worrying about it, he just keeps walking away as her body hangs there. He'll stop for a few moments.
Before we leave.
Go ahead.
But surely before we leave, we can at least kill him. Right? And Victor's looking at Mud this entire time that he's saying it.
And Mud's probably just got this low, guttural growl going in his chest.
In the distance, he's maybe 50, 60 yards away from you guys. He'll stop and sort of looks over his shoulder. You can all see this redness of his eyes as he glares at all of you. He'll lift his hand, just sort of like a, what are you going to do about it sort of thing. And he turns to these other people that were in the street. He says, and this is what has happened. If any of you argue against Vargas's festival, I expect silence on this matter, or I'll kill you all, including the lot of you who seem to think yourselves invincible. And he looks at the 4 of you.
So, what if we got him drunk and like threw him in the back of the wagon and just took him out of town and just like beat the living shit out of him? Like, we could do that, right?
Just went out of this town. I just went out of this
Victor's
town.
like not necessarily being silent about this either.
Izek will just stand there staring at all of you.
Let's get to the inn.
Mornak's going to pull out his pipes and start playing a very sad, lonely song.
Mud, give me a will challenge roll, please, with 1 bane.
15 minus 4, 11.
You'll hear that voice that's always at the corner of your mind. It says, now this looks like a fine fight, Mud. It says, you're not going to let him just stare at you like that, are you? Not going to let him dominate you, make you his bitch. You're not going to do that, Mud. No. You're more than that, aren't you?
So I think with that in mind, Mud will look over his left shoulder at nothing, apparently. And then as Victor goes to walk away, Mud will, without looking, reach over and grab his shoulder, look back to Izek, and take off his fur that covers the side of his face. And then fairly loudly, not yelling it, but loud enough, Mud will say, yes, Victor, he dies before we leave.
I want to see this, Mud. Let's see how you deal with somebody better than yourself. Prove yourself, Mud.
And most of the time, Victor has been, jolly, cheerful, pretty happy. Like, you will see this wicked grin just come across Victor's face as you say that. Like, it's a little disturbing because it's like you don't see this normally from him, and it's just like this creepy ass grin just comes across his face when you say that, and then he just turns and follows Vasily to the end.
Muddle, with his one eye and one gaping hole still looking at Isaac. After Victor starts to walk away, Muddle just spit on the ground and turn around and follow Victor.
The Blue Water Inn. As you guys come upon it, you can see there's bright lights coming from inside. There's loud voices laughing. And as you open the doors, the place is filled. A good 20, perhaps 30 people. Most of them are Vistani. There's some townsfolk as well. You can see Erwin, his wife, Danica behind the bar. His two young sons running back and forth, carrying food, drink to different tables. And Erwin will look up, and you just see this huge smile come across this big, bearded face. He says, yes, I got the wine. He says, I don't know what to say, friends. He says, and he'll quickly push a bunch of these plates into the sink behind the counter, and come around towards you, and he just puts his hands on your shoulders and sort of shakes your hands and says, you have no idea what you have done. Says the people of Valakai, this is and what of the winery? What of the winery? I hope they're well, yes?
Well, it still stands. They're mostly still alive.
What do you mean, mostly?
Your family lives.
Your pain in the ass father, and with that, Victor's like rubbing the top of his head. He still lives.
He looks in. Well, I figured you'd learn of such anyway. Me and Davian don't get along very well these days. No, we don't. But at least he's alive. That is good. That is good. Says, I'm sorry I did not wish to intervene yourselves into what have happened there. I didn't want you to, think you were going for the wrong reason. Please, I wasn't doing it for the family. I was doing it for the people here of Valakai. But he says, regardless, dinner is on me, friends. Food, drink. You tell me what you want and you got it.
I hope it is at least worth the cost that some of us have paid. And with that, Victor's going to kind of, emphasize his shoulder. And I'm pretty sure like one or two of Mornak's little eyeballs are poking out somewhere beneath his hood.
So, this land is like a disease. It slowly seeps into your very soul and corrupts it. I can help you with that, though. I can help you. I promise it. I will take care of this. I wish nothing bad to come of all of you. Says I believe you are good people, good friends, and I hope that I am a friend as well of yours. Says, things aren't always what they seem here, but I will have your back as much as needed.
So when he says that, without saying anything, I'll actually pull a Raven card out and just kind of show it to him. I believe there is more for us to speak of on this.
Well,
So indeed.
and also really quick, I do have some bad news. We now, in our defense, we did bring back the horses in one piece, but when we got here, the jackass outside cut them in half. So it's not our fault. We did bring the horses back, but they're gone. Sorry.
Says, yes, I saw what happened. Says, a lot of you are quite brave to face up Isaac like that. You have no idea what you're getting into with him. No idea at all. But and he'll look over his shoulder. Give me a bit to sort out the chaos here in the room. He says, we're quite busy and I have a bit of work to catch up on. But as soon as I get a moment, I will come over and perhaps we can have some words in private. He says, please take a seat, and if you need anything at all, I, Danica, the boys, they will be happy to help. He says, give me just a little while to clear this place out a bit. And he'll turn, and you can see that he heads back to the kitchen and starts cleaning up and stuff.
On that note, Victor's going to look around the room. Does he recognize any of the Vistani that's in the room, aka them being at the camp? Because we didn't make the bestest impressions there either, so I'd rather not run into any of them.
You did not. And no, you don't see a single Vistani that you recognize. You don't even see any of these that you saw in the town before or anything. They look like all of them are just complete strangers. And you'll notice, actually, that these Vistani, they all sort of dress rather, elegantly, like the other ones did, and they sort of have that olive skin tone and dark hair that all the other Vistani had as well. But these ones, they all have much more tattoos and piercings, and they almost like it's a different tribe of the same people, but a different tribe of them.
Because I don't remember the description, did what's his name have a bunch of tattoos and piercings in him?
Jack?
Jack.
Yes, he does.
He does. So they kind of look a little bit more like Jack style.
Jack is much ganglier and a bit not as healthy looking as these folk, but yes.
But the tattoos, the same tribal.
Yep.
But after he leaves and sat down,
Victor's actually going to go up to Mornak, and he's going to start patting Mornak down. Go ahead.
He has a bit of that delay. Go ahead, Vasily.
I was going to say, after he leaves and we're sitting at a table, said, was there any payment agreed for delivering this wine?
The player does not remember this.
I see by the silence that taken that as no.
I honestly don't remember.
No, he mentioned.
Yeah, it's been so long.
No, he mentioned that the winery itself would pay you for the delivery.
He told us that he would pay us. Great. Oh no, we have the letter that the winery sent over.
Yes, Vasily has that. Yep.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that. I've drawn a blank on that.
Yep, that little cryptic letter that Adrian gave you said to give to Erwin.
That's right. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Yep. So, yeah, as you guys sit at your table, have a few drinks, and sort of wait for this place to clear out, it takes a little while, but Erwin's able to get some of these Vistani who are quite rambunctious, and they don't, overly threaten anybody, and they don't get rowdy or anything, but they're quite lively people. He slowly gets them to calm down a bit and start heading out. Some of them retire upstairs to the loft into the different rooms. And, after a good hour or so, it's calmed down a bit, and he'll come out from behind the bar and, sorry, friends, it's been a bit of a crazy night. Vistani, they are in town for the festival this weekend. Seems like Vargas has invited the whole damn world to come. Yeah, it's all just bullshit anyway. Why don't you come back to my office and we can discuss a few things, eh?
Of course, yes, I have something to show you.
And you'll grab a bottle of wine off the counter, some mugs. He'll give you your own bottle, Mornak. He says, I remember you like the wine, Mornak. You can have your own bottle, but don't drink it too fast. Eh? With that, he'll lead you through this back kitchen. You can see his wife, Danica, and the two boys cleaning some pots and pans and getting things kind of cleaned up, whatever. And he will step through the back door, and it actually goes out to the stables. He says, my office ain't too much these days. Well, it's really just a set of stables, but it is private here, don't you worry. And he'll take a seat on a small hay bale off to the side and begins to clean his fingernails with a small blade. He says, let me apologize. I didn't mean for anything bad to happen to any of you. He says, I can see this corruption as it's starting to sink in for you, Victor and Mornak. Says, if you would like, I can fix that for you. I have my ways. Says, as for your hand, Victor, I wish I could do more, but alas, I can't regrow limbs.
Is this the stable that I slept in when we first got here?
Yes.
As he's talking, I'm looking up on the rooftops for all the ravens that I've seen there before.
Yep, there is lots of ravens all over, and you will indeed see the one which you know is Stefania, but with the white-tipped feathers.
I'll just give a little nod to that one and continue listening. Just kind of I know you're there.
And says, but I will take care of that if you wish soon enough, he says. My father, he is quite stubborn-headed these days, and, well, I'm sure you met him, and I hope the others, this is Adrian and Dragoon, they're doing well, yes?
Yes, in fact, we were given this note to give to you.
To take that and unfold it, looking at it for a few moments. And sort of glance up at the rafters at all these other ravens that are around. He says, why don't you join us, Stefania? It'll be fine. And this small raven will hop down, and it seems to twist and contort on the ground for a moment, and you'll see Stefania. She rises to her feet.
I'll already be holding out a glass of wine.
I never get used to
Victor's
that.
mouth is going to drop down to the floor almost kind of bit, and like, I didn't know she could do that. Did you guys know that she could do that? Like, because he's never been present when she does this, and he didn't put two and two together last time of her doing this. So he's just like super shocked that she.
She'll offer you this bit of a smirk, Victor. I have been able to do that for gender. Yeah, long time, of course. And she'll take a seat. Says, Erwin, these fine men, they helped us clear the winery. It was the barbarians from the west, Birag, the Blood Rains, the others. Says they took them. All three are gone. And she'll look at him, and then at all of you, and Erwin stares at this piece of paper and just nods. Says, I was worried of this. I was worried. He says, why don't you stay with us, Stefania? Danica can handle the boys inside and finish cleaning up. He says, you all must have a lot of questions. He says, I can answer them the best that I am capable. But he says, you've proven yourself that, well, you care more about others than yourself, or at least so it seems, he says.
So what did the note say?
He says, well, Adrian wishes for me to tell you about ourselves. Since you have to understand, my father, he would murder me if I was to tell you our secrets, tell you our goals. But that old man, he doesn't
That's
understand.
okay. We could just say a little bird.
Yeah, yes, the little bird.
We don't have to say what you did.
That isn't true, and it is not a lie. It is not a lie. Says, well, to be honest, I don't know where to begin. I don't know what Adrian may have said, or what Stefania has been able to share. Says, how can I help all of you with this? This is what would you like to know?
What do you know about this upcoming festival?
The festival. We have a festival every damn weekend. Every weekend. Last weekend, it was the Wolf's Head Jamboree. The time before that, it was the Butterfly Dance. Before that, who knows? Every weekend we have these bullshit festivals. Makes the people happy, the burgomaster says. It keeps the devil away, he says. It is all blasphemy. It's his lies. The devil, if he wanted to come here, he would. He doesn't care about this place, but it's not safe. No. I fear that the burgomaster is just edging him on. It's only a matter of time before the devil comes and kills him, the rest of us, somebody. Perhaps this will be the one. Perhaps this will be the one. Says, but what do you know about the devil?
Very little. Unfortunately, we know that he was sending his forces to assault the house of the burgomaster in Barovia, and which is what brought us here. His daughter or his sister.
He says, you mean the lad, Ismark the Lesser?
Yes,
his sister.
Yes.
He says, I had not heard of this. He says, the devil, well, his castle overlooks Barovia. The town is like his own little pet. I hear he tortures the people, and I've seen the walk of the dead. It's a shame. It's a shame. Says, and what of the girl? What is his connection with the girl?
She has a special interest. He has a special interest in her.
A special interest, you say. Interesting.
In fact, on our way here, we were confronted by some sort of unworldly person who insisted that he heal her of her wounds that she'd taken, and he was in servitude to the devil, and indeed he did heal her wound.
This is a tall elf. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. That man is the devil's servant. Rahadan is his name.
Rahadan.
Yes. He looks at you, Mornak. Besides yourself, he's the only other elf left alive here. He's killed all the others. All of his kin slaughtered them all. Children first, then the women, and then the men. Said to have fashioned curtains and bed sheets, clothes, and others from their skins and bones. Dark man. Says, well, and he looks down at this piece of paper in his hands and folds it back up and puts it in his vest pocket. And what do you wish to do about the devil? Says, are you just going to carry on and try to find your ways home?
I personally don't think we can find our way home as long as this devil exists.
You're right. You are right indeed, Vasily. You are right.
I haven't heard you say anything more now.
Okay.
Oh, now I do. Now I hear you.
I think my headset's screwed up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
He says, well, the devil, Strahd van Zerovich is his name. He was once a noble, proud warrior, came from the lands north, far, far north, not from around here, centuries ago. And, well, he took over these lands. A great war spread across long before my time. He conquered it. He built the castle, Castle Ravenloft, named after his mother. He built that in his honor. And these lands he took as his own. And, well, there is a long story that goes with it. I will not bore you with the details tonight. We're a bit limited in time, but my family, the Martikovs, it is our livelihood. It is our goal to destroy the devil. And we always seek those who may wish to aid us. And he'll stare at all of you in silence for a few moments. Says, if you truly wish to leave these lands, if you truly wish to be home, then the only way to do that is to kill the devil. Says, there's rumors of relics that could do just that. Items of power. The devil is more than a man. He's more than a beast. He's something else. But if you wish to leave these lands and return home to see your family, to see your kin, to see your sister, and he looks at you, Vasily, then you have our aid. Mine, Stefania's, and all of the keepers of the feather.
What are these items that you speak of?
I do not exactly know. We'll see. I've only heard rumors. I've heard tales of a book that the devil has, a diary of sorts that he has hidden away that tells of all of his secrets, of his lies, the truths, his weaknesses, his powers. We have been searching for it for generations, looking for our weakness in his defenses. But we have not found it. There's others. A mace of blinding light that is said to be a beacon of destruction for kinds like his. A dagger that is said to scream like a banshee. And others. Says, I do know of one such item, but it is out of our reach. We don't have the means to get it.
How so? Why?
So, my family here, the Martikovs, we are all, well, he looks at Stefania. We're ravens. I think that is safe to say. He'll look around kind of nervously as if to make sure nobody's listening. He says, all of us, we contracted this lycanthropy long time ago, long before my father's fathers. But the who's and hows is not important. But there is a story of a relic, a holy symbol of raven kind, it's called. It's said to protect those who wear it against the vampire kin. His computer crashed again. What time is it? Yeah, let's take like a quick 3-4 minute break so he can reboot.
Okay.
That way he doesn't get lost behind on all this.
That's cool.
Okay, well then Victor's going to interrupt really quick and say, so I have a super important question. Were you a raven that got turned into a human, or were you a human that got turned into a raven? Like, that's super important.
I and all of my kin are humans. Human by nature, raven by magic.
Okay, then which do you prefer? Do you prefer being a human or being a raven?
You know,
I'm sure being a raven is very liberating in that you could take flight. And also you get free food. from some people.
People
Victor's
are
just
always
gonna smile when he looks at what's her name?
the people always feed us. How do you think I got this big belly? Pat his large stomach. But he says, it's a bit overrated. It's a bit overrated. I don't know where you disappeared on us, so.
Right with the we're all ravens and yeah. I don't know it's my system is just completely turned off twice.
Shortage in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Victor's just asking a question. That's all. Didn't miss too much important stuff.
Give everybody just a moment to get back. We just took a couple-minute quick break while you.
Because I can see you're talking fine, but then Jesse's frozen. Oh, no, I see him moving. Okay, never mind. I thought he froze again.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm just Drax.
I got you.
Yeah, nothing's thrown out in the system log either. Weird.
Do you maybe have like one of your things updating in the background, or your virus protection is maybe updating, or because sometimes that will
now,
destroy
as a matter
your
of fact,
system.
there's a clean, fresh install that I haven't really touched in the past week. I reinstalled everything last week, whole fresh hard drive and everything. I don't know. I probably just have some kind of mismatch between a driver and something else. You know how it is. Carpenter's house has never done the IT guy never fixes his own crap.
So I know mine used to do that and actually had a shortage.
Well, you know what? It would have to have been something that just showed up because the system has been running with the same hardware for over a year with no problem. Only thing though is I did.
That's part of the reason why it's part of the reason why I'm on my phone is because my computer, the graphics card's going out on it, and so I can't buy a new one until Thursday. So it may be not for a couple of weeks before I can get me a new computer. So
my new computer is supposed to arrive today, but now it doesn't look like it's going to arrive till Wednesday.
Well, that sucks. Well, at least though next week, like you'll have everything hashed out and like update everything that you need to or install what you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I have to, I can switch to my laptop, but that was just unexpectedly weird.
All right. Yeah, he will. Everyone else sits back and sort of open his hands up and says, the holy symbol of Ravenkind. That is the only relic I know of, at least on how to find it. He says but we don't have the means. My family, they've tried to get it. And he'll look at this piece of paper in his hands. Most recently, it seems. Says it is buried at the base of an old dead tree up on Yester Hill, west of the winery. It is a druid circle, a place of blights of druids, and a monument to the devil. It says deep within the roots of the old tree. It is buried there. The devil put it there.
Is that what happened to your missing family member? And also, is it because maybe that you guys went looking for that relic? That's why the druids attacked you?
That's good to be true, Victor, yes. Because I have not been at the winery for several years. My father and we got into a bit of an argument. I was supposed to watch the fields one evening, and, well, I had a bit too much to drink myself, and me and Danica, well, let's just say 9 months later we had a kid. But My father blames me when the seed was stolen. It wasn't my fault. It was, well, that's a lie. That's a lie. It was my fault. I should have been watching. The druids, they took it. And that is how they awoken the tree. The blights were born. Mother came and took the others.
Mother. What do you know of Mother?
An old hag, Baba Lysaga. I don't know where she is now. I haven't heard her name in several years, to be honest. But I'm sure she's there, leading over the coven, old Bold Grinder and the other hags. Looks at this piece of paper in his hands. It seems she's returned, taken another of the seeds. And now all three are gone.
There's talk of her might be better running the town other than the burgomaster. Would she be better at running the town? Because we've been hearing mixed stories of her being good, and then also her being, well, you said it, a hag. So
No, Mother is exactly as I describe her, an ancient hag. She believes she is the mother of the devil.
Yes,
I don't know if the truths are not, but I don't know. She would not be a person to rule over this town by any means. Whoever would say such a thing is fools.
I believe
Warnack
our
reaches
our minor kidnapping a few days ago may have been a confusion of the term mother.
Yeah, I think there's two mothers running around. One who lives in the town, and then the hag.
Right.
He looks, he says, you mean Carl and his brother Nikolai. Is that what you speak when they were talking about their mother? No. You are correct. There's a bit of a misunderstanding there. You see, Baba Lysaga is a hag, quite an ancient hag, said to be the oldest of this realm. She lives to the west, often kidnapping children, eating them alive before she grinds their bones into flour and makes pies for her sisters to sell. The mother that those boys spoke of is indeed their mother, Miss Wachter. She's, whether she was running this town, whether Vargas was running this town, hell, Father Lucian could run this town. It doesn't really matter.
Or even you.
Indeed, even me. It's pointless. We're all under the heel of the devil. It's only a matter of time. That is why we... And he looks... That is why we have tried to find people to help us fight back. But the village, they don't care. Have you noticed, when you look at these people, they all seem strange. They seem to be fake. Their wide smiles, their pale skin, their drab appearance. It's
almost
strange.
like their soul isn't there.
That is exactly it.
They're just husk walking around.
That is exactly it. Says they don't care to be under the heel of the devil.
It sounds like to me that we need to go to this tree and dispatch Mother. Well, first off, Mornak, do you think this might be the same mother? Because I don't think it's the other mother that was the mother that kidnapped you. I think it might be the old hag mother.
It is the hag.
And then okay.
We have to kill her.
So, and you want, yeah. So, I guess a better question is, can you sneak us out of town without anybody noticing? Because somehow we're wrapped up in this festival thing, but we have things we have to do. We can't stay
Everybody's wrapped up in this festival. It's only a matter of time before Vargas pisses off the devil enough for him to come and take care of the situation. And I fear when that happens, everybody will be dead. Me, my wife and family, we can get out of here, but I fear for them, Father Lucian, and the others. He says, yes, if you give me a bit of time, I think we can get you out of town quietly. But you must understand, if you're not here for the festival, and Mr. Velakovich realizes that, his anger will come down on the people for your mistake.
Will not be human sacrifices.
Well,
Well,
quite easily could be.
here's the
Perhaps we should make a.
do you think do you think the town would be better off if we got rid of is it Ezek,
Isaac?
the jackass with an arm?
And what were you going to say, Mornak?
I was going to say. I don't know what I was saying anymore. It's out of my head. Sorry.
That's right.
Too much wine. Too much wine.
He shrugs. The town, the world would be better without Isaac, but yeah, dealing with something much more than a man with him, you know. I don't know exactly who or what he is. I remember when he was a young lad, him and his sister, they took off to the woods hunting wolves. Yes, it used to be a pastime when things were a bit quieter before the devil reawoke. Something happened in those woods. He returned, his arm torn to shreds, his sister gone. And that is when Vargas took him in. Not long after, his arm was back and he grew into that man that you see now. A deep hatred resides inside him, something abyssal, something dark. Whatever Vargas did to him, I fear to wonder. But if you will help us in this quest against the devil, if you will perhaps aid us in some way, then you will have the backing of the keepers. So if not, I fully understand. I don't wish to impede you more than what you have. I wish no harm to come of you, but please realize Strahd will come for you, each one of you, and kill you in due time. He brought you here as pawns, and he will kill you without a second thought when you're no longer interesting.
Is it possible that this book of secrets that Strahd keeps is indeed with him? Wouldn't he keep it close to himself?
Well, that is what we thought indeed, but it says no. It seems that somebody, someone snuck in a long time ago and stole that out from under him. Nearly 200 years ago, before my time. I've only heard it in stories. He went on a rampage through these lands, slaying people and seeking a bride. I don't know the entire story, exactly what happened. But it seems that somebody stole that diary and took it from him. And while the land itself, it paid for that deed. After his bride was killed, after a fit of rage, he went back to sleep in his dungeons. It was only recently, perhaps within the past couple of years, that he has once reawoken again. It seems to be every 150 years he awakens to ravage the land, destroy it, curse the people, murder, kill, bring people like yourselves as pawns, as play toys. we've seen many come through here. All of them dead now. If you ever visit Barovia at night, you can see the dead. All of them, people he brought here, walk the streets to the castle.
We've
I've
seen
seen it.
Says all those people, hundreds, perhaps thousands, were like yourself, people that he brought from other planes, other worlds, brought them here, toyed with them, played with them, until he lost interest.
The way I see it is if we need this book and this tree to help us get out of here, we're down to two choices. We either go right for the book and the tree, or we swing by this, I believe you called it bone grinder, and deal with Mother beforehand.
He says, the book itself,
Is
I
it
don't...
Mother at the tree?
No. He says, the book itself, I don't know where the book is,
okay.
but buried within the roots of the tree is a relic called the holy symbol of Raven.
Oh, that's what
He says, but getting there is no small matter. The tree itself, well, I've seen it from a distance, a great dead oak with a maw filled with undead. It creates these blights that walk the land, and it rises the dead from their graves. The people, they call it Old Knock. This is that buried deep within its roots, guarded by the thing, is where the holy symbol resides. But I believe if we can get that, it'll at least be a start. My family tried. I believe that is why the Druids came. Destroyed the winery.
Don't I still have a piece of Old Knock?
You do.
Yes, I do. All right.
As soon as he mentions Old Knock, I reach into my backpack and pull out the journal from that old man at the first inn that we're staying in. I look through the page and says, Old Knock had something to do with that horrible atrocity at the inn that we were at.
I'll pull out the piece of wood and...
Oh, look at that. Yes, that is it. That is it. The tree is like a doorway. Since I don't know how it's a portal of sorts, it is able to transcend from here to worlds. Whatever world it is you came from. Says, I don't understand such arcane things myself, but it is able to move between the worlds, and when it does so, the dead rise with it, and it pulls whatever is around into this realm here, under the command of Strahd. That is what happened with a lot of you. Let me guess. You were assaulted by undead on a dark and stormy night. So the story is always the same. Strahd likes the rain. He likes the undead. As an old man lying in bed awakens and curses you all. Before you know it, you're walking down an old road in the rain, in the fog, and you find yourself here. The story is always the same. Perhaps this time it will end differently.
Well, I've been trapped in a house for God knows how long, so it's a little different for me. But yeah, I think they came that way. Pointing at the others.
You know, Victor, I recognized you when you came through that door. You look different now. You're older. Well, says perhaps you're still the... Says I would have to think on this, Victor. There's something there.
There was another young boy that came with us.
Well,
Go ahead.
We knew him as Bester, but he doesn't remember coming with us. But we found him up at the temple.
He says, I'm not quite sure. I haven't heard of that before, but, well, things work in mysterious ways here. Perhaps someday we'll figure it out. And again, he looks at you, Victor. He says, You should have a talk with Vargas's son.
Vargas said or mentioned that he sort of resembles me, but I have no memory of such. Maybe we need to have a conversation with him. But on that note, there has been a lingering question that I've been wanting to ask. I don't know if you know who he is, but there's a person out there named Jack. He is a Vistani, or we think he might be a Vistani. He has the tattoos similar to the people that was here tonight. And he turned into crows, not ravens. A bunch of crows, it looked like. Do you know who he is?
Ah, yes, we do indeed. Everybody knows Jack. Jack of Nightmares. That is his official title. He was one of the Svastani once. Same tribe of those you saw tonight. They have a camp to the south. They are... You see, the Vistani, they are people that walk these lands. They can travel through the mist to other lands, to other worlds. They are given that freedom by the devil. But there's multiple camps. Some worship Strahd as a god. Some simply work with him as helpful hands. Others, well, they don't really give two shits about him. They just go on about their business. But now and then, there's a Vistani who is more corrupt than the others, who doesn't fit in quite right. And when that happens, he is cast out from the tribe to become what they call darklings. They are generally killed, hung in the galleys, their throats slit, but they return back as undead. Jack of Nightmares is one such man. He's not alive like you and I, though he may seem it. And his entire goal in life, that's not quite right. No, his love is to kill the Vistani. He will do so every chance he gets. His goal, however, is to rule these lands. He won't get there, of course, but he will walk that path of undeath until either he's killed and destroyed or he gets what he wants. He's not a bad person.
Yeah,
per
he
se,
almost got
but he's not good either.
in trouble at Madame Ava's camp because he murdered a Vistani.
Consider yourself lucky that he didn't kill more than just one. Quite powerful, but...
Well, perhaps he might be able to manipulate him to use him as a tool. If he's so eager on ruling this land, perhaps we can coax him into help fighting Strahd, letting the two of them destroy each other.
Jack isn't as powerful as the devil, no, but he might be onto something. He is quite strong in his own right as well. There's nothing more he would like to be than a domain lord.
Well, he could always be a thorn in his side. And I think with enough thorns in Strahd's side, he may, keel over. That's always a happy thought, right?
That could happen. That could.
He does have an amulet that I want.
Yes. He has a lot that people could want. He also knows more than he lets on, but he's not somebody I wish to deal with very often.
Mud?
Well,
Once
I think
told us-
he's going to have more of a significant path for us because, and I'm going to point to Mud and say, we have this card that we may think is him. I think Mud still has it. The swashbuckler.
I think I gave it back to Vaseline. And Mornak, what were you saying?
You once said that we were here to kill Strahd. I think that's a valiant plan. We should start doing that.
I believe so as well, but
I think that's our goal here, if we have a goal.
we do. But Mornak, I believe there are personal vendettas that need to be settled as well,
Oh, yes.
such as going to Bone Grinder and seeing Mother.
Yes.
So let's take a look at our to-do list. We have Mother at the Bone Grinder. We have Old Knock, where we can get this amulet of radiant holy mightiness, whatever it's called, that's inside the roots of this holy tree. And we also have the Burgomeister that might bring down the wrath of the devil in this coming festival. And as an addendum to this third finger, we have Isaac as well. So we have quite a to-do list.
I say we start with Isaac.
Well, and don't forget, we did promise to look for the missing family member and see if we can find anything about him, which I think that might tie into the old knot, though.
Oh, he's dead. But
I'm not disputing, but we did say that we would keep a lookout for him.
You're just going to drop it right there.
I did consult the cards and the spirits and powers that be, and they informed me that he is no longer amongst the living. Whether he's walking amongst the dead, now that is a different story.
And could you find out
But
whether
still,
he's
it
walking
wouldn't
with the
hurt to
dead?
return his body to his family.
Go ahead, Mornik.
Can you divine whether he's walking with the dead, Vasily?
I might be able to ask the question that has. I can only ask yes or no questions, but that might be able to do something. But I think if we just destroy the devil, all of his walking dead will flutter off into ashes. Maybe I'm mistaken.
They say that if the devil is ever killed, that the sun will rise, the clouds will part, and happiness will reign upon the lands once more. I hope that's true.
In that case,
I hope to see that in my lifetime.
in that case, I almost believe doing what we need to get to Strahd should be primary. Warnock, we'll handle Mother while we're here, but maybe we should go to Old Knock first. Personal vendettas may have to wait.
That's fine. I'm not ready to face her yet anyways. I'd like to have a few more spells in my pocket.
And maybe one of us can get another arm fixed. Speaking of that, any chance you know of someone that can, like, make, say, a metal arm or a wooden arm or something along those lines?
So I would have to see what I can do. There is indeed a, what you call a craftsman down the streets. Usually he only crafts the coffins for the dead, but he's quite a skilled blacksmith and carpenter in his own right. Perhaps he can help you out. I will send you his way in the morning. And Erwin will stand up and, you know, you don't have to do this, but there's something different about the lot of you. Everybody else we see that come through, you can see that they give up before they ever begin. The fact that you've taken on these druids and you've helped save my family and Stefania, and that you're willing to put yourself on the line, perhaps there's something there. Perhaps you're the ones. I hope.
Erwin, I swear to you now, we will kill the devil Strahd. We may need your help, and the help of your family, but we will do it, or I shall die. Those are the only options.
And they're not exclusive. We might
Victor's
do
gonna
both.
get next to Mornak.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Victor.
And besides, who else has charming good looks like me and Mornak here? And Victor's going to smile and just blood is running down his face even more.
All of my eyes start going all different directions.
It's quite a motley group you are. But...
Oh, speaking of that, you said you can help with this, right? Because it's getting a little tiresome. I'm feeling more tired more than usual with all this blood loss.
Yeah. In the morning, I will happily help you a bit. Have a bit more wine so you sleep well, Mornak and Victor. Drink up, drink up. He says, in the morning, perhaps we can figure out the finer details. He says, I will aid you in any sort of way that I can. He says, I don't know too much about Yester Hill, Old Knock, beyond it being an ancient tree. I've seen it in the distance. The hill itself is also at the edge of the mists. It overlooks the lands that once were. It is hard to put into words. These lands, they once spread out miles around before the mists, but they have put a chokehold on it, wrapped around, and when you reach the end, you just disappear into the mists. But there, upon Yester Hill, you can look out across the mist to the lands that once were, where the devil himself came from. They say he goes up there sometimes and looks across and weeps for what once was, if the devil could weep. But, well, I'm not quite the fighter that I used to be, but if you'll have me, I will gladly be by your side on the hill.
Of course. You are our brother, Erwin.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
What's the matter with your father?
Why is he such a dick?
Yes, he is quite the dick. He's quite the dick. He is simply stuck in his ways. You see, our entire family, it has been our path to destroy the devil. We've tried generations after generation, years after years. And he's getting old in age. He looks at his entire life as a failure. This is the winery. First, they stole the first seed, then the second, now the third. And of course, part of it is my own fault, but he doesn't mean anything bad by it. He was a good man once. He still is. He still is. He simply lost.
Do you think these 3 seeds are still intact and they might be retrieved from Old Knock?
Well, I know that mother, she took one.
Oh.
Well, I don't know what she did with it. The one that was taken while I was, well, making a child, per se. I don't know what happened to that one. And this other one, from what Adrian says, Birag, the chieftain of the Druids, he took it to the Yester Hill. So who knows? I don't know what they might have done with it, or what they were going to do with it. I don't know.
And the Yester Hills where this old tree is that we need to...
Yes. A large hill carved out along the sides, much like a ziggurat type of pyramid. It says old cairns ring around the side. It is a ancient gravesite of the Druids. Undead crawl across the place. Old trees in the center, along with the Druid circle. The Druids, they worship Strahd like a god there. They have a great monument built to him. Getting there is the easy part. What we will do while we're there, I don't know.
figure out the details on our way.
I don't know about this particular tree, but I know trees in general don't react well to fire.
Yes, we will have to load up on a few extra flasks, I suppose. That would be a good place to start. As well.
Let us rest. Let us rest and get moving. How far travel is it to the tree?
This is perhaps in another 2 hours or so past the winery, so half a day at most. If we make a good haste, we could be there and we leave early. We could be there by midday, no problem. We certainly don't want to go during the night.
The issue there is if we leave before that stupid festival, then the people will face the wrath. And we don't necessarily want to cause hardship among the people. They didn't deserve that.
It is true. It is true.
If all goes well, we can be back if we need to be before the festival. The festival's in 3
we could always claim that we're going to get more wine for the festival. They don't know that there's not going to be any more wine coming.
That's a good point, Victor.
I would rather just sneak out, personally.
Well, we'll have to think about the best way to do that. I can get us all out of town without too much of a problem, but old Vargas, he knows I don't leave very often. He might be a bit perceptive if I do. But we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. I have no worries there. All of you are going to hear. Oh, go ahead.
It sounds like a plan.
He'll stand up and sort of walk over, opening up the door to go back inside the kitchen. When he does, all of you are going to hear what sounds like people arguing inside. Erwin will look around and kind of step through and head back into the kitchen, sort of leaving you guys out there. Looks like he's in a bit of a hurry. And then you can hear him talking, and it sounds like there's a bit of an argument going on inside. What time is it? Yeah. Do you guys follow him in?
Sure.
Yeah.
You guys pass through this kitchen, open back into the main room, and you'll see Irina and Ismark are standing at the end, along with several other people. You would have recognized them as just basic town folk and some of the people you saw back up at the church. And Irina will look over at all of you and hurry over, probably to Vasily and Mud. Says, you know that young man you spoke with? He was digging the graves out the back.
Oh, the weird one.
Says, yes. Says, and she'll look back over. You can see Ismark is talking with the others for the moment, and Erwin will sort of come over to stand next to you. She says, we just found him. He was hanging from the galley bell. His neck snapped. We believe he killed himself. She says, it is quite a strange sight. It's unnerved me to my bones. But well, we've come down here to perhaps stay the night. And Father Lucien, he's a bit flustered and worried, and well, everything's a bit chaotic up there right now.
Has he been cut down yet?
She shakes her head. I don't know. Father Lucien ushered us out and told us to come here, and she points over at Ismark and these other townspeople that are there, and he just told us that he would cover the rooms here for the evening, and he would handle it himself. But and you will also hear this heavy slam of the main doors of the tavern. Look back, you see Izek standing in the doorway, these heavy boot stomps that come in. Behind him, this fat little Vargas Vlakovic, the burgomaster. This is... What is the meaning of all of this and all hours of the night? And Izek is going to look around the room. He looks at all of you. You can see this smirk sort of on his face. Then he looks at Irina. And his whole body sort of slumps a little bit, and his eyes widen, his mouth falls open a little bit, and he just stares at her. And we will end it there for the evening.
Sweet.
Can I
Great
use my endurance points out of combat?
You can, yes.
Okay. I'm just going to take a swig of drink and fortify myself and use one of my endurance points.